Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is episode 27 of our Factorio 0.17 tutorial Let's Play walkthrough campaign. In the last episode, we accomplished several things. We built this array here to produce solid fuel, which we're using to feed our trains instead of coal, and we also built modular armor for ourselves. That's this right here. And the big thing about modular armor is that it has a grid to which we can add equipment, and we've added a personal roboport, some solar panels, some batteries, and night vision equipment. As soon as it turns dark, you will see the huge benefit of having the night vision equipment, and we're producing a few more solar panels right now. We're handcrafting it, and we're doing that because the solar panels don't put out nearly enough power to feed this roboport when it's at full blast. If you look, you can see that the maximum consumption is 2 megawatts. That's 2,000 kilowatts. These are only putting out 30 kilowatts. We would need a whole lot of them, way more than the grid can hold. But it's something. So today, we're going to dip our toes into robots. Just as when we first started, we went from manually handcrafting things to automating things with assemblers to logistics where we automatically feed our assemblers. The next big step in automation is robots. Now, robots are fantastic, but at large scales they're extremely power hungry. And while right now we have plenty of power, as you can see, we're at about a little less than half capacity, robots would swallow that and we would not even notice. So we are going to start very slowly with robots, but we are going to start. We've completed advanced metal processing, which means we can start working on our next science pack, the purple science pack production. We're a long way from getting it, but we might as well get started. Now, robots come in two varieties. There's construction robots and logistics robots. We're going to discuss both of them during this series, but right now we're going to focus on construction robots, and we're not going to deploy them to our base, which is the main way to use them. We are going to just use them on our person with our personal roboports. Now, both types of robots, the logistics right here and the construction, requires an ingredient, a flying robot frame. And making the robots is easy. Making robot frames in large quantities is much harder, because the ingredients are electric engine units, and electric engine units need regular engine units. So that's the slow part of it. The rest, steel plates, batteries, electronic circuits, not a big deal. So let's take a look at what we can do in terms of building a flying robot frame array. Where do we want it? Right about here. Alright, so this is going to make our flying robot frames. And we can see that it takes 20 seconds to craft a flying robot frame, and requires 4 ingredients, one of which is an electric engine unit. Well, let's take a look at electric engine units. It takes 10 seconds to craft an electric engine unit, so we can use one of these to feed 2 of those. Alright, what about regular engine units? So this will produce regular engine units, and those also takes 10 seconds to craft. Okay, we have achieved charge, so you can see if I take this out how dark it is. We're used to that from before, but as soon as I put it back in, it becomes much lighter. Not as good as daylight, but way nicer than what we had before. So the point is, we need one of each of these to 2 of those. So we can do that, and we can use direct insertion. Something like this. So let us take a look at what we need. We've gotten the electric engine units taken care of, but we also need steel plates, batteries, and electronic units. We don't need a whole lot of them, so split belts are fine, but we do need 2 belts to feed it in. So suppose we use this belt as an input, this belt as an input, and this belt as an output. What do we need here? We need electronic circuits and lubricant. So lubricant is a liquid. It'll come in through a liquid pipe. But green circuits we need to feed to it, and engine units will come from here. On engine units, we need steel plates, iron gear wheels, and pipes. We can get steel plates and iron gear wheels from our bus, but we're going to have to make some pipe machines. So we're going to need to produce pipe somewhere here. This uses steel. This does not use steel. This uses steel, but that doesn't help us too much. All right, so suppose we do something like this. We can use long inserters here. So suppose we do something like this. Nope, not there. There. And this belt can take green circuits, which we will need both for the electric engines and for the flying robot frame itself. And this belt can take the other ingredients. We need batteries and steel. So that takes care of those. We're going to need lubricant, and we're going to need steel pipes and iron gear wheels, but we don't need a whole lot of either one. But we do need to make sure we can get our liquid here. Can we jump? How far can we jump? We can jump pretty far. That'll work. Can we go one more? Yes. So we can have that there. And this could be, let's say, steel plates and iron gears. And over here, we can bring in iron and use that for pipe. Now let's see how we're doing on volume. This produces one pipe every half second, so 2 pipes per second. So in 10 seconds, it'll produce 20 pipes. This requires 2 pipes in 10 seconds, so this can feed 10 sets of these. I think we're good for that for the moment. How are we on orientation? I would like to start this whole array a little bit higher. So let's cut it and move it up. Okay, there we go. Let's see. We need an input inserter here as well. That we don't need. And we need to do this normal setup that we do. And we need power. Let's take a look. We can bring power in over here. And then from there, we can do that. that, and that. Yeah, that works. We need some output inserters and input inserters here. This is going to be our input, and this will be our output. Now, we finished that. Low density structure is a long way off, but might as well get a start on it. Can we make this any more compact? We can, because we can move all of this over one, and we can move... no, we cannot move that over one because we need these inserters. We can shift all this over one. Like so. That'll still pick up from there and feed into there. And that'll save us a little bit of space, but it really doesn't matter. We can just leave it as is. Alright, this is more or less tileable. Let's get some lights onto it. Oh, I'm out of lights. Alright, we'll get some lights onto it later. Because if we make a copy of this, but with that... nope. We make a copy of this, but without that machine. Then this can be tiled, like so. And we can make more of them. Again, just as before here, we're not going to fill all of it out because we don't need a lot. We have one personal roboport on us, and a personal roboport can only support 10 robots. So we only need 10 robot frames. We don't need to build a giant array. We'll want a lot more than that, but for now, this is good. So let's take a look. This needs to be iron. On this line here. I'm out of those as well. Let me go grab some and I'll be right back. Alright, and we finished that research. Let's grab the next one, yellow science, utility science. Again, we're quite a bit of ways from making that, but we will want it sooner rather than later. Okay, that's iron. Now we need gears and steel beams. So the problem is, if we bring this line down here, we're going to run into this junction. So we're going to have to be a little bit more creative. Let's offset it over to the side, and we will do it in a slightly different fashion than here. And that's for the other line. And then this can go that way. And we'll bring it up right here. We can make a jump there. And bring it in this way. It's not the most straightforward. This is one of the problems with having things both below and above the bus. You will sometimes get these conflicts as you are bringing things in. So that's good. Now we need green circuits. And this line here. Green circuits are right there. Let's... That finished. What else? Personal battery Mark II. This is like the personal battery we have now, but it's more, stores much more. But we're a long way from being able to make that because it is... it requires low density structures and purple circuits, neither of which we have yet. So, Oops. Because this should have been another jump. So that's green circuits. Are they coming up? Where's my green circuits? There's there. They're coming. Next we have rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is one of the ingredients needed to build our final rocket, but it's also a very, very useful fuel for running cars and trains. Just as solid fuel is better than coal, rocket fuel is even better. All right, here we need iron or steel and batteries. So, nope. Ah. And batteries we've placed here. So we need to feed them into here. And we want to go past it. And feed backwards like so. Okay, I think that's everything we need. We need to put these down. And let's see. That's producing. Oh, lubricant. We have not hooked up lubricant. That's our bottleneck. And I'm out of pipes as well. Be right back again. There. And our lubricant pipeline is... Oh, you know what I just noticed? We put sulfuric acid on the same line as water. That's no good. There we go. And lubricant should be on the next line down from that. Let's make sure that it is. Oh. Rocket fuel finished. Nuclear power. Oh, that'll be great. And as I was looking around, I just realized we never brought lubricant onto our bus. So let us go and grab it from the oil field. And as we do that, we might as well run the pipeline for it. It's going in this slot right here. So this will be a little bit tedious. I'm going to cut out part of this running and dragging the pipeline behind me. And here we are at the corner. We will cross the train tracks. We are done with the research. Let's do the next one. Getting some military stuff in. Military 3 is poison capsules and slowdown capsules. Honestly, I don't really ever use them. The poison capsules I've heard are pretty good. Combat shotgun is also supposed to be okay, but I prefer the submachine gun. Still, this is a research that you can see unlocks a lot of things down the road, and one of the things that I absolutely love that this will unlock for us is tanks. Tanks are great, so we will definitely go in that direction. We've crossed the tracks here, but I would like to make sure we're lined up with our pipeline right here, so let's use the map mode to get our alignment right. Okay, so we want to be here, which means we need one more pair of these. So there's our corner, and I will run it all the way up off camera. And here we are back at our refinery. This is connected. You can see lubricant is coming out. We have plenty of lubricant in the tank. So what we're gonna do, just to improve things a little bit, is put another pump on the lubricant pipeline right about here, because this is where the lubricant is coming in. It's going up to storage, and we want to, so we don't want a pump into the storage, because lubricant will both go in and out of storage, but it's always going to go out this way. So I'm going to move this a little bit. And this is an always-on pump, just to get it moving a little bit better down that way. Military 3 finished. Let's skip ahead and grab tanks, because I really like tanks, and we are going to want to use them the next time we need to clear fighters. We have lubricant flowing, and I will meet you back at the flying robot frames array. Okay, here we go at the end of our bus, and we need to extend this to the point where we can connect to the array. Now I'm noticing that our science is not ticking much, so let's take a look and see what's going on there. We're low on chemical science. Why are we low on chemical science? Is everything running? It looks like everything is running. Are we just producing it slowly? No, it's a shortage of red circuits. The bottom parts of the array are not getting enough. Alright, so we will definitely need to upgrade red circuits. Are red circuits running? No, red circuits are short on plastic. It looks like we need more plastic production. You can see that plastic is barely reaching these machines and not reaching those at all. So one of the next things we're going to need to do is upgrade our plastic production, which we will do in a bit. But for now, let's go take a look at our flying robot frame array and see if everything is working. Let's see. This is working. This is working. This is working. Now, this is all working very slowly. We did not put in an inserter there, which is problematic, which means we also will need one there for when we copy. But these are, as we know, quite slow. But there's our first robot flying frame. So what I'm going to do right now, because we're not really ready to use this, is I'm going to put it into a box, and I'm going to cap the box at 1 stack. And this is where we will get some robots. Now, as you can see, they're producing very slowly. If we want to, we can hit the P button to bring up our production screen. This shows us how fast we're producing things and how fast we're consuming things. Now, right now, the scale is set to 5 seconds, which is very, very jumpy. You can see things are jumping around. But if we change it to a 1-minute scale, it'll slow down a bit. And we can look here at flying robot frames. We're making 3, maybe 4 per minute, which is, not a whole lot, but it's something. We can also click on it, and then it'll only show us that. And the ups and downs you're seeing here is because with only 2 machines and such a slow production rate, there's parts of the second where nothing is happening and parts where a lot is happening. Once it's been running for a bit, you can look at a longer time scale, and you can see it starts to kind of average out. So we're producing about 5 per minute, and ideally I would like at least, let's see, this can take 10, so I would really like at least 10, although probably we're going to want a second roboport and 20. So let's see, we have 9, let's wait for 10, and then we will move forward. Now, one thing while we're waiting, now that we have a personal roboport installed in our system, we got this button here, toggle personal roboport. You can use Alt-R or click the button. We're going to toggle it off, because if it is on, it will immediately begin to build things. The robots will immediately begin to do things that are in range, which we don't always want them to do. Do we have 10 yet? We have 11. Okay. When working with the personal roboports, we can't do anything with logistic robots. Logistic robots are there for use in the factory. We want construction robots. So we need some green circuits for them. And as it happens, we have enough raw ingredients. Let's not make green circuits by hand. Let's pick up some green circuits and make 10 robots. Now, one thing I like to do is I always want to make sure I have space for my robots They live in the inventory, then they go out and they come back. If there's no space for them to come back into, we have a problem. So one of the things we can do, just as we filter chests and trains, we can filter our inventory. So I usually use the very last slot, and if you click the middle mouse button, you can set a filter. So I'm going to set a filter for construction robots. They immediately move into there, and nothing else can take the spot. So I'm assured that I will always have my robots. That finished. Let's proceed on making our way through the technology. Alright, so we now have robots. Well, what does that mean? Personal robots do several things. Personal robots, construction robots, they will build anything that has a blueprint, provided I have those items in my inventory. They can't really grab from anywhere but inventory, and that's why it's important to remember whether it's on or off, because right now I don't really want them building out these arrays. I would like to... I don't need them yet. But if I turn it on, it'll immediately go ahead and do things. Robots will also do several other things. They will destroy things that you've marked for deconstruction and put it into your inventory. They will repair things that are damaged near you, as long as you have repair packs in your inventory. And they will even use cliff explosives to blow up cliffs if you mark them for deconstruction. So let's take a look. My car is damaged. I'm going to turn on the roboport, and you can see the robot takes a construction pack and goes out and fixes the car. How lovely. One thing we can do, if we look on our map, is we can turn on this logistics networks button, which is a little bit of a bad title because it's not really a logistic network, but it shows us that green square. That's the range of our personal robots. It's centered on us, so they can only build things within that square. And it's important to keep in mind where your square is, because you don't want to be building things that you're not ready to build. That research finished. Let's actually jump over here and improve our physical projectile damage, because that's going to be useful the next time we go out bug hunting. So what do we want to do with this? Well, let's take a look. We really need more gears. I noticed this before. And with the roboport on, here they are building gears. Now we don't have a whole lot of robots yet, so they're not doing it very quickly. And remember, they can only build things that are in our inventory. There's also a little bit of an alert here. It says 46 objects are missing construction robots. See map for detail. And you can see in the mini-map it's flashing. And that's because we have probably 100 items to build on the screen right now, and we only have 10 robots. So they're going a little bit slower. But they are building. And unfortunately, it's in the vanilla game, you can't really prioritize which part they will build first. Now look what's happening here. See how they're hanging out near me? That means they've run out of charge. They need to recharge from our roboport. And our personal roboport, I believe, can charge the same as a regular roboport 4 at a time. But we don't have a whole lot of power available. So 10, we're just barely supporting. Now there is another trick. And we will see that as soon as we start getting a backup of them. You can see they're queued up because I only have space for 4 charge spots at a time. However, when they're queued up like that, let's wait for them to queue up. And this is what I meant about be careful. I didn't really need those lines built, but they're going to go ahead and build them because they're in range and they're blueprinted. It's okay, but it's, I'd rather they were building over here. So they're handy, but they're not very smart. So we're going to wait for them to queue up for charging in a moment. And you can right-click to pick them up. And the nifty thing is, if you right-click to pick them up, they automatically recharge. So even if you have no power left in your suit, and you can see our batteries down to like 39% because we're recharging much slower than we are charging, we can do the right-click to pick up, and it will recharge them magically somehow. Apparently, I somehow deleted these. And very often when robots are struggling like this, I will help them, because the things that are easy for me to build, like these guys or power poles, I can get done faster, and that takes some of the load off our bots. But the things that are finicky to build, like all these little twisty belts or inserters, those are the ones I really want the robots building. Now, I'm out of small electric poles because we haven't been manufacturing them for a long time, and the robots are definitely not smart enough to place a large pole in place of a small pole. They just don't do that sort of thing. So that we can upgrade manually, or we can go make some more small poles, which I definitely don't want to do. And there's our complete array. Now, obviously we're not feeding it nearly enough iron to saturate the array, but you can see how much easier that was to build. I'm going to turn the robot ports off, because if I even walk over here, they're going to go crazy with building everything. Now, one way to fix that is to get rid of blueprints that we don't need, and we could do it with just the deconstruction planner by doing something like this, because we don't really need this array. I built it to reserve the space. The problem is, if I do it like this, it'll also deconstruct that power pole and those undergrounds, which I do want. So one thing you can do with the deconstruction planner is you can pick it up, open your inventory, and drop a deconstruction planner in your inventory, and then right-click on it and customize it. You can say, I want you to only delete boxes, or I want you to only delete undergrounds and belts. You can also change this to blacklist and say, I want you to delete everything except boxes. This is also a very handy mode. Trees, rocks only. I frequently keep one of those deconstruction planners in my inventory permanently, and even on my hotbar, because that comes up so very often. So let's do that, and let's open another one. And here we're going to say, go to this question mark, which is not part of our regular categories, and pick Entity Ghost. So this will only delete unplaced blueprints. There. That's gone. That's gone. But the things that are real are left alone. And now we can turn our robots back on, and they will start building this out. Why am I building this out? Well, because you can see we're not quite making enough stone bricks. However, I don't have enough materials on me to do it. I just wanted to demonstrate the principle. Okay. Let's do weapon shooting speed. Now, since we're now working with robots, let me show you one other interesting thing, and that's the upgrade planner. The upgrade planner by itself works automagically and upgrades everything that can be upgraded. We definitely don't want to do that right now, and we've used one before here. In this case, though, I have all of this set to yellow inserters, and I don't have any yellow inserters. I can go get some, that's fine. But I could also open the upgrade planner, tell it to upgrade from yellow inserters to blue inserters, and if I then wave it over there, it'll change it to blue, and my robots go to work. Not very useful since I don't have any furnaces on me, but you can see how handy that can be. I can also use it to downgrade. I can say I can clear this, change this from blue inserters to yellow inserters, cover that, and now they're marked with a circle, which means they're labeled for upgrade or, in this case, downgrade. But again, since I don't have any yellow inserters, the robots can't do it. Let's turn off our roboports and grab some inserters, and we will see what happens. Okay, here we are back. I'm going to turn the roboports back on, and they're placing the yellow inserters, and they've replaced the blue ones back with the red. Now, I've also brought some belts and furnaces with me so that we can build out the rest of this array. And as you can imagine, this makes building our stuff much, much faster and easier, or at the very least, less tedious. Again, with only 10, we're not building super fast, which is why I will frequently help them by placing the big, easy-to-place items. And we don't have power because we don't have any of the small power poles. Let me go see if I have any in the box. I'm not going to manufacture more, but I might have some sitting around. Oh, and I arrived here and left my roboport on, which means it did things like build out these combinators that I definitely didn't need built, but, you know, they were there. Ah, I actually do have tons of these. Well, it might as well be happy about it. No, 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 turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. I don't want all this built out, see? That's the danger. Because we're not ready for that to be built out. All I wanted to do was grab some undergrounds, because they used up all of my undergrounds, and probably some splitters would be good. So it's important to keep your roboports off if you don't really want them to be building, or just accept the fact that they will build stuff that you've planned for future construction. It's not a huge deal. Alright, now what's going on up here? We're not getting enough coal. Ah, that's a big problem. What's going on with our coal production? Well, what's going on is that this coal patch is very, very small, and it's just not keeping up with our smelting arrays. So, that's definitely going to be a big thing to do between episodes. We're going to need to grab this coal patch, and possibly grab this copper patch at the same time. So we have accomplished a great deal today. We have built the production facilities for making flying robot frames, only in a very modest amounts, but that's all we really need right now. And we've gotten ourselves some personal robots, some construction robots, so we can now automate construction a little bit, and that is a big part of where using these blueprints and tileable blueprints becomes important, because we can design something once, plop some upgrades, and very quickly get it built out without sitting there and installing a million individual inserters. I'm thinking that I might install a second roboport here, even though our power is going to be inadequate, and get 20 robots in place. Why are you not in your right place? Oh. I'm going to show you one more thing, because this is something that happens every now and then. I'm going to pick up a whole bunch of copper, because I want to fill my inventory. Alright, so my inventory is almost full. Ah, and they ran off to do something. Silly robots. They're building these things that are completely not necessary, or even desirable, since they were just markers. Let's see. Next upgrade, let's just go with energy weapon damage, now that we have energy weapons. We are missing some inserters here. I'm just gonna replace them with these guys, because I can't be bothered to go get more yellows. Alright, let me show you one more thing. If you look at the modular armor, you can see one of the lines in the middle there. It says inventory size bonus 10. So we have 10 extra slots in our inventory, basically the entire bottom row, because we have this. That means that when our inventory is nearly full, it's really important that we don't take our armor off, because this is what will happen. Look at that. All of the stuff that didn't fit has just gotten dumped out on the ground. Now, I can put the armor back on, and then I can pick all this up by holding F, or I could also mark it for deconstruction and turn on my robots and they will go get it. But it's just something to be very careful of. As we progress further with better armors, they add increasingly more slots, which means it makes an increasingly big mess. You'll also notice that I went over here to do it, because if I were standing, say, over here when I did that, all that stuff in my inventory, all that stuff in my inventory would have ended up on these various belts, and I would have had to decontaminate half my factory. So you don't ever want to take off armor when your inventory is full, and if you're replacing armor like with a better one, rather than picking this one up and then inserting a new one, it's much better to pick up the new one from your inventory and place it there. Then it will not do this dump. Alright, we'll start the next research, laser turrets, and that is going to be the end of our episode. So as I said before, we've accomplished a fair amount. We've got robot frames, we've got personal robots, we've seen how to use them, and you now know everything you need to know to try one of these yourself. And as always, if you enjoyed the episode, please hit the like button. It increases the visibility of the channel. And if you're enjoying the series, consider hitting subscribe so that you get notifications of future episodes. And as always, don't forget to save.